and lifestyle realtor here at 7 Gables Real Estate. Well, I'm so thrilled to have Alan Zall back now. Alan Zall is a renowned real estate and probate attorney here in Southern California, and I'd love to have you back, Alan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being on the show. You're doing a really good service, informing people of different law changes.
Yeah. Well, we were talking recently, and Alan told me about a new law that's going to be coming into effect that has to do with actually a huge safety issues, right? So, Alan, why don't you tell us what kind of started this?
Sure. Well, what started it was several years ago, there was a balcony failure. That was in Berkeley. And as a result of that...
And this is on a condo or apartment or something?
What it was is they found out that there was a failure due to poor waterproofing, caused dry rot, and the failure of the wood member. So someone fell from a balcony.
Gosh.
And there were 13 people killed. And as a result of that, they implemented now, coming up January 1, 2025, new legislation where you need to inspect the stairways, exterior stairways, balconies, everything above 6 feet in height. They want to try to obviously prevent any kind of injuries or any kind of death from poor conditions.
Wow. So it's not just the property inspection and the termite inspection, where now we need to get inspectors to inspect the exterior deck, balconies, all of that whenever a property's sold, right?
It depends. There's two different Senate bills that cover different areas. One is Senate Bill 721. The other is Senate Bill 326. Now, they talk about inspections, but for different types of properties. For example, the SB 721 talks about apartment buildings with 3 or more units, whereas the Senate Bill 326 is going to be talking about condominiums and condominium associations that have at least 2 units. Now, this is going to bear additional costs for the owners of these, and it gets complicated because there's special rules on who can actually do the inspection. They have to have written inspections, and there's different procedures. When they inspect it, they can do visual. They can also, in certain cases, do laser to check. It gets interesting. Or they can use a scope, and they can bore small holes into the wood to try to check if it's really damaged.
And is this for sure going to come into law January 1?
Yes, it's effective January 1, but I think it's important for people to know about it.
2025 you're talking about?
25, yes. Because they have to make arrangements to hire the experts, get the reports written, and then if there are issues, they divide it into 2 categories. One, if it's an emergency to repair it, or if they can allow more time. Now, if the association or the owners don't comply, there are civil penalties involved here. And they can take remedial action. So you definitely want to prepare ahead of time and go ahead and meet the requirements. Now, it's not a one-time thing. You have to repeat this periodically. You want to look specifically at those 2 codes because it depends upon whether it's a newer complex or if it's been in existence a long time as to how frequently you do have to do it. It is several years later. But the time period can vary as to when you have to redo it again.
So you're bringing a question to my mind, though, Alan. When say you're selling a condo or a townhouse, those are all governed by associations. So wouldn't the HOA probably have something to do with this?
Well, the HOA management would have to deal with the inspections. You would probably have, a property manager.
Hopefully that would take a little bit of the pressure off the seller, hopefully.
Yes.
Not sure, but hopefully.
Yes.
All right. Well, that might be a little bit better.
But a lot of people are not aware of this new legislation coming into effect. So I feel like it's important to inform people far ahead so that they have the time to look into it, see the specifics, if it does apply to them, and then if so, hire the requisite experts that are spelled out in the code, and they can write the written report. And then if there is something that is considered serious, they need to really take care of it right away. If it's something that is important, but it's not an immediate deadline. Then
Yeah.
they have time to prepare,
Okay.
hire the necessary people to go ahead
Yeah.
and do it.
Well, once again, Alan, what I love about it, prevention is one of the best keys to, knowing what you're doing or whatever. But for those of you out there, myself included, who might be listing condo, townhouse, whatever, January 2025, we could start getting moving on this a month or two in advance, so you're not caught off guard, right?
Exactly, because I think a lot of people in the public, and I think there's a percentage of real estate agents and real estate brokers who are not aware of it. And the worst thing would be for you to find out the last minute.
Right,
and then
right.
people are panicking, what do I do? I need to get this done.
Right, right.
And I don't even know who to hire
Right.
or how to go about it logistically. That's super important.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's a big deal too on timing. Because let's say, for example, we're in an escrow period. It's about ready to close, like you said, and then now we need to backpedal because of this. Other things get affected. People's locked in on a loan rate. Let's
That's
say,
a
for
good
example,
point.
your loan it's not going to, your loan rate's going to expire, or the people you bought it from are already moved out. There's so many variables that affect people's lives. When something hits you by surprise during an escrow period, you're like, oh my God, and now real estate's emotional, right, Alan?
Oh,
real
definitely
estate is
it
emotional.
is.
So the more information, the better. Listen, I have one thing to say about Alan. Once again, he's a renowned attorney here in Southern California. And the fact that you take the time, Alan, to come here. I mean, you're in Tustin, I'm in Huntington Beach at our studio, and it takes you about a half an hour. So great kudos to you, Alan, for taking the time to educate us. Really, you don't get paid. You come and do this because you care about people.
Yes, well, I want people to be informed, and I think that your program is really important because it's allowing people to get the information that they might not otherwise know.
Right.
And it's important for the consumer as well as the professional real estate broker and agent to know about it, so that they can guide the client. And also so that there's no surprises.
No surprises, that's the biggie.
Definitely, because we want the process. When Jules handles a real estate transaction, it goes smoothly because she's prepared beforehand, and then she minimizes any possibility of surprises.
Right.
Sometimes unforeseen things come up, which nobody can prevent.
Right.
But in a lot of cases, we can prevent things by keeping up to date, by reading, and being aware of circumstances. And it's a great aid to the client to be aware that they have a real estate person like Jules who can successfully help them complete the process, because it's a challenging process for many people to buy property.
Right, buy and sell.
Especially if they have not done it many times. And even if they have, with all the new legislation.
It's always something new. Well, I tell you what I do. Every time I have you come and educate us, and I get new information that's time stamped. Most all of this is set to a date, right? Like I'm going to put on my phone as soon as we're done for like October 1st. Check on that law, and then check with you. You know what I'm trying to say? So I keep up on it. November,
Definitely.
December. So I'm ready for January 1 when new things come up. Okay, Alan, you are just such a wealth of information. I know you are one of the best in your industry. So how can people get a hold of you who might need you?
Yes, they could email me at Alan, ALANS_ZALL at yahoo.com, or they could call me at 714-731-4811.
Well, once again, Alan, he's so wonderful. He comes here out of the goodness of his heart. He doesn't get paid. I think I got you a cup of coffee, though, didn't I? That was
Yes,
pretty
you
good.
did. That was very nice of you.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you watching.